Wow. Hello, fellow fan geeks. It's your fangirl, Tally. And today we are watching There Will Never Be Another Conan O'Brien by Renzy. Now, I can't say I disagree. Huge Conan fan. And yeah, editor Hubby is too, so let's do this.
Likable one moment, angry and dismissive the next.
See where I'm going with this at least.
Oh my God.
There's just too much people, too much pressure.
As a host, she's amazing.
You knew I liked you.
But as a boss, she's a different person.
Restaurant owner banned Corden, calling him the most abusive customer since the restaurant opened.
I've been walking around thinking that I hadn't done anything wrong.
Who said okay to this? Why are you doing this?
So, what exactly makes a good talk show host? Is it
Passed
kindness?
over for the job scandals?
No, out of the goodness of your heart.
A sense of humor?
You're making a lot of money and you're in a big theater. I don't think it's gonna last.
Maybe it's relatability.
Your zipper is down.
Or perhaps it's a combination of these things. Things that, in this dwindling new era of late night, seem to be in short supply. But there was a time when it
Carson,
thrived.
come on, he is. I love the Oh
What do you
man.
see on Earth from space?
Every time we fly by California, we see your chest.
My wife is dead.
I'm sorry to hear that.
High five.
High five.
I can only tell you that it
I
has
loved
been an honor
Letterman,
and
too.
a privilege.
I
I
watched-
bid you a very heartfelt good night.
There were some you just had
After
to stay up
30
for, you
years
know?
on TV, Johnny Carson would
Matter if
retire
you were
as
in
the
trouble with
host
your
of The
parents.
Tonight Show. NBC would announce
Again,
that
my
frequent
age.
guest Jay Leno, and not
Not
David
Letterman.
Letterman, would be its new host.
Just how pissed off are you?
There's another one,
was
man.
understandably bitter.
Would I like to have the show? Oh, sure.
I mean, this was his dream job. At Carson's advice, he would leave NBC after 11 years hosting late night. His staff would follow him to CBS. NBC was now left without a host or a show. SNL creator Lorne Michaels was brought in to salvage what they could. Dana Carvey and Gary Shandling would both decline to host, and popular figures like Jon Stewart and Drew Carey would audition for the role. But Lorne
And they
had
didn't take
another
care.
idea.
They didn't take Stewart. Are they crazy? I guess we got him later, so that.
to replace David
I mean,
He would pitch an individual
Daily
who,
Show
at the time, was a
masterpiece.
relatively unknown writer with credits on The Simpsons and SNL, whose experience in front of a camera amounted to about 40 seconds of airtime.
His days were full with Conan O'Brien. What is funny about Conan?
He's very generous as a performer. He's not looking to score at your expense, and he's just funny.
After an audition that included interviews with Jason Alexander and Mimi Rogers, O'Brien would land the position as new host of Late Night, alongside his young sidekick Andy Richter.
A friend of mine, some might even say a sidekick, Andy Richter.
The show would premiere to a flood of negative reviews. Conan was tall, lanky, and where some would see energy,
It is exciting.
awkward, but I think
others
that's
would
like
see uneasiness.
what you
I gotta
love
admit
about
that
him.
this is a
He's
little
just
unusual.
like
His fidgety nature and
Normal,
visible lack of
right?
experience
I
would
mean,
make him a prime
he
target
doesn't
for
come off
critics.
as
One more thing.
polished
You
or
better be as
perfect.
good as Letterman,
Just
or else.
you
So
know,
large
he's
was this influx of negative press that
an
interns
awkward,
would have to
dorky
fill
guy.
the seats that audience members had left empty. These were big shoes to fill after all,
He was
but shockingly that didn't deter him. Conan's
normal,
humor, despite not as
dorky,
refined as the
kind
years
of,
that would follow,
you know,
was
you
apparent
felt
from
like
the
you could be
very
his
first
friend.
episode.
Help me out here, Andy. Ow! Ow!
see,
Wow!
like
Wow!
that was he was the geeky guy you sat next to at lunch
Sure,
because you know
I'm sorry, but it's on the cue cards. I have to do as I'm told.
I have to do as I'm told.
After almost being fired and reaching near cancellation a number of times, the tide would begin to turn. Conan's monologues became sharper, his timing grew tighter, and a few 90s megastars such as Tom Hanks and Kelsey Grammer would provide the attention he needed. Ratings would inevitably pick up, and the critics would turn fans. This would set the foundation for an almost 28-year run.
Ladies and gentlemen, in August, our first guest will take over as host of this very program that's called Late Night. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the new guy, Conan O'Brien.
Conan's preferred style of comedy is absurdist, clever, and often dumb humor.
One of the most striking images was this shot of North Korea's Kim Jong-un arriving at the summit. Warner Brothers gave me my own security detail. Okay, that's me.
Now, despite having a degree from Harvard in history and literature, he is susceptible to missing the mark.
Cam Newton, more like Fig Newton.
I'm not saying he's perfect, but here's the thing about playing it safe.
You know, his name's Cam Newton, and then I said Fig Newton instead.
I heard what you said.
Not only does it make for painfully boring TV, but it's almost always expected.
President Trump gave his big speech at the UN General Assembly today, and at one point he threatened to totally destroy North Korea. So he says a good plan to do it too. He's going to run for president of North Korea.
Guys, it means he's going to run for president of North Korea.
Trump is going to run for president of North Korea.
A joke is usually made funnier by completely subverting your expectations.
All right, well, Kenny, I'm going to plug you now while he's blindfolded. The album is the gift. Shut up.
What did you say?
Conan is not only a
plug you
master
now
at this,
while
but can do
he's
so at the
blindfolded.
expense of
Okay,
himself.
then.
And I didn't even know there was an audience. I'd heard the monologue, but, you know...
Self-deprecation is something he uses constantly.
When I was growing up, no one ever said ginger.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, redhead, and then bang.
It not only disarms the viewers and guests, but also humanizes him. Then you watch someone like
true.
Jimmy Kimmel, who has a tendency to joke at the expense of everyone else. There's, oddly enough, a yearly Halloween gag where the only goal seems to be making kids cry. Kimmel, unlike Conan, has a tendency to leave guests or staff in the blue about whatever bit he's conjuring up.
I can't do this, man.
Now, what happened there? Who's Larry?
Yeah, Larry is the cinematographer. This is so embarrassing.
This creates unnecessary tension and can make guest appearances feel more like a chore. Then you have someone like Jimmy Fallon, whose kindness is not only disingenuous, but wildly overdone.
And his belly goes in my mouth.
Even a
He
guest
uses
is like,
laughter
really?
and endearing praise to smother his guests so they feel more at ease.
There's no host in late night that pretends to care the way you do. I mean, no one captures phoniness the way you do. It's a gift.
This eagerness to please the guests and fear of dead air can cause him to habitually interrupt.
No. I sort of...
Do they allow dogs in the hotel?
Aren't you supposed to let people talk on the show?
Oftentimes to the point of genuine confrontation.
Taylor?
No, see where I'm going with this at least. Nobody ever listens to me.
Oh my
Finish a
gosh.
thought.
Oh my God.
So what I was saying is
You're not even looking at me.
Because I'm trying to think of what to say next.
Conan is the sweet spot.
That's
Not too harsh,
embarrassing.
not too soft, somewhere in
You
the
can
middle
tell I
with
don't
an
watch
incredible
much,
ability to relate to nearly anyone.
Yeah.
She said, when does
Fallon.
the nervousness and self-doubt end? And I said, I have really bad news for you. There's always some of that.
This Ivy League education of his gives him a vast array of insight and knowledge into most personality types, allowing him to adapt and improvise in whatever exchange he's having at the moment.
Your voice changed when you were 10?
About 10, yeah.
I think mine changed during the second term of Obama's presidency.
Conan isn't phoning in these conversations. He seems genuinely interested in whatever he's discussing, encouraging his guests to give just that little extra. Then you have his sidekick in Andy Richter, who's just incredible at playing off of a bit.
No, I like the ocean.
I do. I like the ocean very much.
Yeah. Do you float a lot in the ocean?
What?
Sure. What do you sink? It might be that cast iron heart.
Yeah.
And doing so without taking over the conversation.
Good job,
This
Andy.
combination of factors can effortlessly
kind of
make a
question
guest
was
feel
that?
at ease. Take Rooney Mara, for example. For context, she's an incredibly talented actor who just so happens to be timid and shy in real life. Conan, having known this, begins with somewhat of an awkward icebreaker.
I've read in interviews that you talk about how you're very shy.
Notice how her eyes drift away in discomfort and she begins picking at her nails. He starts at a point of high tension, creating a purposeful bit of anxiety here so she can get used to these emotions. What follows is a fairly easy softball question that almost anyone can relate to.
For example, you hate it when people sing happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I do.
And surely enough, he does exactly that.
I actually relate to that.
Then he follows up with a complaint or two that warms the crowd up.
Yeah, I don't love it either. I don't like praise for something that I didn't have anything to do with. And that's not a joke. I really do
Exactly.
feel like people are happy. And what are you supposed to just stand there and go, yes, I survived?
It's so embarrassing.
Yes, I
He
survived.
takes the lead
Wow,
here,
I've
gradually
never thought of
chipping
it
away
like
at
that.
the initial tension,
Yeah,
shouldering
my
the blame
mom
for whining
managed
here so
to
she won't have
birth
to. Now
me.
watch what happens in the
Yay.
very next exchange.
So you hate it when people give you that kind of attention.
Yeah, like when you wrap a film, they announce it and everyone starts clapping, and I hate it. I always turn bright red and I just get really embarrassed.
The direct eye contact, the expressive hand gestures, the confident tone. In just around 40 seconds, he's given her the self-assurance needed to command the conversation. At this point, he takes his foot off the gas, and the discussion shifts to a more even back and forth. Conan's ability to resonate with almost any guest makes for some pretty incredible and long-running bits. Like
That
the
was
one
actually
where Paul
really,
Rudd
really
substitutes
cool.
whatever clip from the film he's
He
promoting
did.
with a scene
He
from the
just in a few
1988
seconds
sci-fi
got her
film
to
Mac
relax
and
and
Me.
I did bring a.
open up. I mean, as a person with anxiety, as a person who will do that, shut down, tortoiseshell.
But it's not just the
in
guests. Conan
uncomfortable,
is
awkward
unanimously praised
situations.
as being an incredible boss.
I was an
Having
intern for
someone who
Conan
can do
O'Brien my
that
junior
is-
year for a summer. People have asked me before,
Wow,
what's
unusual.
your biggest influence comedically? And I said, without a doubt, it's Conan O'Brien. One of the most surreal moments of my entire life has been the first night I went on that show. You can see that I actually end up tearing up because at the end, he takes a moment in the segment to say how proud he is of me, and I'll never forget it.
What you see on camera, though, is a completely different story.
Is this your favorite late night show? And be honest.
You are my favorite personality-wise.
Then there's the 2007 writer's strike, where Conan would pledge to pay the salaries of 75 non-writing staffers out of his own pocket should the need arise. He would end up doing exactly that. Or how about the time he'd choose to continue filming Conan using iPhones and no audience during the pandemic, keeping his entire staff on the payroll so none of them would have to file for unemployment. But this is his staff after all. Maybe he's not as kind towards the competition. When David Letterman would air the final episode of The Late Show, Conan would have one simple request for his audience.
Okay, it's now 11:35.
Oh.
Record us, but switch to Dave. Bye.
In an industry so fiercely competitive, he'd set the standard by leading with kindness.
He said, I think that guy. And NBC said, the writer with the weird hair.
His bizarre yet brilliant comedic style was relentlessly innovative.
We got about 10 on here, that's all.
Yeah? Check this out.
Rarely does this man ever give us a half-hearted
That's
monologue or a
amazing.
boring hour of television.
You have a bird on your,
You know, Conan, I'm happy to come on your show, but I don't want to talk about my personal life, okay?
Even better is the fact that his personality isn't the product of a carefully curated routine. His ongoing podcast titled Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend is a perfect example of that.
And then we're about to leave, and this gentleman comes up to me and he says, Mr. O'Brien, I'm here to walk you past the paparazzi. We walk outside. Nobody.
In this ever-changing digital climate, hosting will continue to thrive. Networks will continue trying out new figures and ideas. There will always be a demand for a live audience and genuine conversation.
sorry,
when it
guys,
comes to
I'm
talk
silent.
shows,
Just
there will
that-
always
that
be a
portion,
new star in the
that
world of late night.
piece.
But there will never be another Conan O'Brien.
I have devoted all of my adult life, all of it, to pursuing this strange phantom intersection between smart and stupid. I will tell you, I think when smart and stupid come together, it's very
It's
difficult. But if
amazing.
you can
That
make
is
it
one of the
happen,
best
I think
things
it's
in
the
the
most
world.
beautiful thing in the world.
Stupid smart,
Try,
smart stupid.
Try and do what you love with people you love, and if you can manage that, it's the definition
Best thing
of
in the
heaven
world.
on
It really
earth.
is.
I had a terrific time tonight. I hope you'll come back, and thank you very much.
Holy wow. I'm sorry I went kind of quiet there for a while, guys. My mind is blown. During the writer's strike, he continued his show so he could pay his staff. He committed to doing this so that they wouldn't have to do unemployment. He went to bat. I'm sorry, that's just blows my mind. Dave's last show, record us, go watch him. I just don't know. That's amazing. That kind of kindness, that kind of humanity? Wow. Just wow. You just don't see that kind of thing, especially in someone so famous. All right, guys. I'm sorry. Please, what did you think? Are you a Conan fan? Comment below. Let me know. I love to hear from you guys. Please leave a thumbs up. Every single one really helps our channel out. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. It's very, very important to us. And hit that notification bell. Make sure your notifications are on so you get notified every time we update the channel. We now have a Patreon. The link will be above, and it can be found below for all of the videos that are currently being held hostage by the copyright gremlins and some special stuff you won't find here on YouTube. Until we see you next time, bye guys!